Today, we will dive into the fascinating world of video games and draw parallels with the real places that inspired the developers. We will explore games like Stalker 2, Red Dead Redemption 2, and Kingdom Come Deliverance II, which are among the best at depicting real locations. These games have transported entire cities, not just individual buildings, right onto our screens. Get ready for amazing discoveries and unforgettable adventures. Let's start with a masterpiece from Rockstar Games called Red Dead Redemption 2.
Everyone knows that Red Dead Redemption 2 is a game with incredibly elaborated physics, animations, and quite realistic and down-to-earth story. But not everyone knows that the largest city in the game, Saint-Denis, is almost a copy of the French Quarter in a real city in the United States, New Orleans. Video designer André Gupsa decided to show you how much the architecture in the game is similar to the buildings in the real city. The French Quarter is called the heart of the city. It is the oldest and world-famous neighborhood of New Orleans. The existence of the city began with the foundation of this quarter in the first half of the 1700s. The French Quarter belongs to the so-called European part of the city. Tourist Quarter, where it is always fun, noisy, and lively. Life here boils around the clock. From everywhere you can hear the sounds of blues and jazz. Often here you can meet street performances of bluesmen, which are of special interest to tourists. A characteristic feature of many French Quarter buildings are balconies on cast iron stanchions projecting far beyond the house. This provides shade and plenty of space for relaxing. And also, such balconies protect passers-by from the weather. In addition, it looks beautiful.
The second game that made it into our top list is Kingdom Come Deliverance II. In the Czech Republic, there is a beautiful city called Kutná Hora. In the game, this city is recreated in a location called Kuttenberg. Kutná Hora is a city known for its rich history and architectural monuments. The city was founded in the first half of the 13th century and became an important center for silver mining in Europe. In the 13th century, the mines of Kutná Hora produced 1/3 of all European silver. This event sparked the so-called Silver Rush. Kutná Hora is famous for its Gothic monuments. The most famous of these is the St. Barbara's Cathedral, which is the second largest Gothic church in the Czech Republic. Construction of the cathedral began in the 14th century and continued until 1547. Today, Kutná Hora is a popular tourist center thanks to its historical and cultural attractions. In 1995, the city center was included in the UNESCO World Heritage List. The game world of Stalker 2 is currently the most detailed in terms of real locations. The game includes the entire Chernobyl exclusion zone, including the abandoned city of Pripyat.
The first location is the fifth unfinished power unit of the Chernobyl nuclear power plant. It was not completed due to the catastrophe. After the explosion, it was covered with anti-radiation material. After the catastrophe, the power unit was planned to be completed and put into operation, but, as you can understand, this did not happen. From the roof, you can see the famous Unit 4, where the accident happened. But let's have a look at the other facilities first. For example, the cooling towers. These cooling towers were supposed to cool the water from the river, so that later the water would cool CHNPP itself. But these facilities were never completed. One cooling tower was almost completed, and the second one was only 20% complete. Now we are moving to the building where the assembly of the NPP reactor took place. And now we are moving to the territory of the fourth power unit of the Chernobyl NPP, the same unit that set off a chain of tragic events. After the explosion at CHNPP, a protective sarcophagus was added to Unit 4. The developers transferred this variant into the game, and they decided not to add a new sarcophagus called Arch. You can see it on the real pictures of the Chernobyl NPP.
Pripyat, an abandoned ghost town, symbolizes the tragedy of Chernobyl and is forever etched in history. Once a thriving city with its own unique atmosphere, it was transformed into an exclusion zone after the disaster. Today, the city consists of empty streets, abandoned buildings, and nature overtaken by radiation. The developers of Stalker 2 have done an enormous amount of work to transfer this unique city into the virtual world with maximum accuracy. Every building, every detail, down to the street layout and monuments, has been recreated with incredible precision. This allows players to feel the atmosphere of the abandoned city as if they were walking through its deserted streets. The virtual Pripyat in Stalker 2 is not just a backdrop for the game, but a true masterpiece imbued with the history and tragedy of this place. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to show your support. You can also use the end screens to explore documentaries built on these video games.